From the Alex Trebek stage at Sony Picture Studios, this is Inside Jeopardy!
Hello and welcome back to Inside Jeopardy, your exclusive and official podcast destination for all things happening in the world of Jeopardy! I'm Sarah Foss here in Los Angeles, and I'm joined remotely by Sam Buttrey. Welcome, Sam.
It's good to be here in the Inside Jeopardy remote studio, coming to you from the widest city street in the world. Named in honor of independence, it's 9th of July Avenue in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Really? Huh.
Widest street in the world, Sarah.
Widest street in the world.
So wide.
That is not a place I have been. We're coming to you from Los Angeles, at least I am. It has certainly been quite a week. I am currently not in my home, but my home is safe. I'm one of the lucky ones. My children's school is no more, and I just want to quickly give just a shout out, just a thank you to all of the firefighters, the men and women who are on the front lines trying so hard to protect our city. And just want to say to everyone who is affected, I am with you, and everyone who's watching from afar and wondering how you can help. We're all in this together, and I just want to start this pod by saying I'm just so grateful for everyone who's out there trying to help contain this unbelievable fire occurrence.
Well said. It's a disaster.
Well, we're going to try to talk Jeopardy because what I've learned in my 23 years with this show is that when everything else is upside down and unknown, Jeopardy is a constant. It's something we can all turn to, and it's the same thing we know and love, and it's just comforting in so many ways. So for those of you who are tuning in last week and seeing week 2 of Second Chance, you got to see quite a competition. We're going to discuss that, but we're also kicking off Champions Wildcard today. And Sam, you were here for Champions Wildcard.
I was. It was a pleasure and a privilege to be in the audience. Again, I encourage people to come down. I was also there for this week's Second Chance taping, and that was a lot of fun because it was one day of taping that covered the entire arc of the Second Chance competition that we'll be talking about in just a minute. Champions Wildcard, very exciting, and it's a delight to be in the Jeopardy audience.
Yeah, and we're going back old school. We have not done the 15-player format for several years. It used to be the only format we would have for our tournaments and competitions, and now we're headed back to that for Champions Wildcard. So we did invite the top 13 qualifiers, those who had won the most games who didn't qualify for the Tournament of Champions, along with our 2 winners from Second Chance. Hard to believe that it was, in fact, Drew Goins and Will Yancey, who are now, they go from Jeopardy losers, and I say that with love, but going from Jeopardy losers to heading into Champions Wildcard, something I don't think either of them expected when they left the Alex Trebek stage. But this will be an exciting 2 weeks, 10 games. We'll have those 5 quarterfinal games, and then we'll have those winners, along with the 4 non-winners with the highest scores. Those will be those wild card spots. They'll then play in 3 semifinals, and then we'll have a 2-day total point affair to find out who will claim that spot in the Tournament of Champions as the champion. So a lot to look forward to with that. Did you have a chance to see the Rolling Stone article?
Yes, it was delightful to see Jeopardy well covered, I thought, in Rolling Stone, and a number of good quotations from people that I got to play against.
Yeah, so, Amy Schneider, Matt Amodio. Yeah, for sure. And some great pictures. I just love the way, they originally came and covered this story for 2 tape days, and they were going to use archival footage to support the article. And then they said, you know what? We want to send a photographer. We want to get that real behind-the-scenes feel. And I think that was captured in the images, seeing the control room, seeing Ken in his dressing room preparing for the show, Ken talking to the audience. It was really just exciting to see the show cover, to talk about, what we've been through, where we are now, where the future of the show lies. And as I say all the time, it's an exciting time to be a part of Jeopardy!
And it's good to see mainstream journalism taking Jeopardy seriously. We see sometimes fluff pieces complaining about Jeopardy this or that, but deep in its heart, Jeopardy remains an important American institution, and I'm glad to see Rolling Stone taking it seriously.
Yes, taking it. This is serious journalism. Looking ahead, I do want to tease that on TuneIn, you will be able to listen exclusively to that exhibition game that's happening, around the Tournament of Champions. We've mentioned it before. Our greatest champions from the qualifying period, those who won more than 5 games, Adriana Harmeyer, Isaac Hirsch, Drew Basile, not Goins. They're going to face off in an exhibition game, no stakes, because they won't be playing in a TOC quarterfinal game. So just want to get that on your radar. Looking ahead to January 24th, that's when you can listen to that on TuneIn. We've got so much Jeopardy to talk about. Let's head into Second Chance, the highlights of Week 2. We kicked off that week on Monday with John Quill, Garrick Reynolds, Steve Miller, and Drew Goins, and what a game this was. Drew ended the Jeopardy round with $11,600, maintaining his lead into final, despite Steve doing an $8,200 true daily double. Now, in final, all 3 players were correct, but as a result, because Drew had the lead, he was able to maintain it, and he heads to the finals.
That really was a great game, and good on Steve for the enormous wager about halfway through Double Jeopardy when he needed it. I will say my favorite moment was probably everybody else's favorite moment, and it had to do with Drew, who famously had missed a Taylor Swift question in an earlier game, even though his brother had created an entire game board filled top to bottom with Taylor Swift clues. And he got his redemption when the clue said, in 2014, Taylor Swift gave us this album named for a different year. And I wish we had the video of Drew gleefully exclaiming, "What is 1989?"
Yeah, that was an awesome moment. And, just so ironic. Again, the material is written in advance. They have no idea. The writers and researchers have no contact with the contestant team. They don't know what the contestants are going to talk about. So the fact that he talked about missing that clue, and then here comes a Taylor Swift clue, unbelievable. And he followed it right up then with a bring it for the final clue, Sam. You were a part of this moment.
A tiny little part. It's Drew's moment. I'm happy to just be a fly on the wall watching him. He takes such joy in playing. And John Quill and Steve are great players, and they were having a lot of fun. But Drew is really very effusive, and he's very fun to watch.
Yeah, and his stats are pretty impressive from this game. 30 correct responses. That's most we've seen all season. $33,400 ending Double Jeopardy. That's the second highest total we've seen all season. $36,801 after final. Again, second highest we've seen all season. And the Coriat from that game, $28,200, the highest we've seen all season. So this game was all Drew's.
He was fire. That's what the kids are saying now. He was
what
fire.
They're saying? Oh, fire.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, if you want to go deep Easter egg, I don't know if anyone noticed it, but obviously when we first debuted Second Chance, we talked about bringing back the big Jeopardy letters. And I will tell you, I came in after having so many conversations about these letters. It takes, a giant forklift and all sorts of machinery to, put them in place. And I came in before the tape day and I said, why are the letters like they're flying in the sky? I specifically said I want them to look like they're sitting on the header, and they apologized. But of course, it wasn't like an easy fix. So that whole tape day that takes place in one day, the 5 shows when Will Yancey emerged our champion, the letters were flying. But as soon as we were done, we got out that forklift, we moved those letters, and I think you'll find they're beautifully placed gently above the header now. And I'm sure no one noticed it, but I did. And I just want to point out, these are the details I'm committed to here at Jeopardy.
If you want to be a Jeopardy producer, you have to worry about the exact location of the enormous Jeopardy sign. And that makes sense. That's just one of the many things you do, Sarah.
I guess you do or you don't. I don't know. But let's hear from Drew, who was so excited heading into the finals after that victory in Week 2 of Second Chance.
Drew, that's quite a game. What do you chalk it up to?
Oh my gosh. Luck, second chances.
Were you happy to see Taylor Swift pop up? By
Oh my gosh,
sheer coincidence.
that was the best redemption I possibly could have asked for.
I had totally forgotten that happened to be on this board.
It's unbelievable.
And then you guys got to
I
it
hope
last.
I didn't pop my mic, just screaming.
That's generally how Taylor Swift fans act when they talk about her. So I think you fit right in. Congratulations, like that total, again, our second best game of the year. How do you feel your position coming out of your qualifying game?
I feel good. I mean, starting at 0 is, I don't feel, the practice games this morning, everybody was just killing it with the buzzer. So I think it's going to be tough. I need to remember my vowels. in Final Jeopardy.
Yeah, that's a
Grinder's influence.
telling mistake there, yeah.
So a little bit of a vowel reference there, as Drew wrote Tinder, the correct response in Final Jeopardy, without the last E. Kind of like the way we spell grinder.
Yeah, I don't know. Was it on purpose? Was it an accident? We will never know. But as it was phonetically correct, we did accept it, and Drew is in the finals.
Now moving on to Tuesday's game, we had Enzo Cunanan, Zoe Grobman, and Josh Haidt. Josh had a small lead in Double Jeopardy when Enzo came from third place to take the lead, and from there managed to finish the round with a strong but not insurmountable lead. But Enzo was correct in final and secured the win.
Yeah, Zoe went to Reddit, and I want to share some of her comments. She said, "Suffice it to say that I have some strong emotions about a mispronunciation costing me at least $12,000 in 2 more games of Jeopardy," referring to when she said Amontillado instead of Amontillado. Tough moment there. She also said, "I have no regrets about going big on that daily double. It was absolutely the right move to make against 2 buzzsaws. And if I had bet small, I wouldn't have won, whether or not I remembered how to say the word. Live by the daily double, die by the daily double." Have to think, Sam, that was the right move in that moment.
It definitely was. You have to feel bad for Zoe. It's not the sort of word that pops up every day. You don't say, oh yeah, I'm going to head down to the store to get tomatoes, cucumbers, and Amontillado. It just doesn't come up. So she made the right move, and she just missed by a little, and that was difficult to watch.
Yeah, and Zoe went on to Reddit to explain more about her experience, saying, "While it, of course, would have been lovely to get to call myself a Jeopardy champion, I'm still so grateful for these 2 experiences I had, which is more than most people get. I'm so grateful for the friends I have made both at my tape days and through the larger Jeopardy alumni community, which is incredibly close-knit and supportive. We all root for each other despite the fake drama that those clickbait peddlers would want you to believe. I have made friends all over the continent and gotten to know some of the Jeopardy greats that I was in awe of when watching at home. So if you are in awe of our performances, take the Jeopardy Anytime test. This could be you." She also shouted you out, Sam, saying, "After today's game, we broke for lunch, and I was honored to have Sam Buttrey make a beeline to approach me to talk about the Talking Heads category for my original appearance."
Now that I've taken this gig, I'm a little reluctant to talk to Jeopardy contestants who are still eligible because we don't want to have any even perceived notion of favoritism there.
Sure.
But I was delighted to be able to go over and chat with Zoe, and I just don't want it to be the thing where when I approach a contestant, that's when they really know they're never going to be on Jeopardy again. I'm like the harbinger of death carrying my big sickle.
Yeah.
It's not like that. I just thought Zoe was a lot of fun, and I wanted to chat with her about that.
Yeah, not like that at all. And we will maintain Sam has no access to game material. He can't decide how we run this show. So he's still in the safe zone. Just because he says hi, it doesn't mean your Jeopardy days are numbered.
I can't even get the producer to return my texts, you know?
I'm sorry, Sam. I'm busy. Well, on Wednesday, we saw our last qualifying match of Second Chance. This time, it was Sam Cameron, Ferdinand Persenti, and Lindsay Denninger going up against each other. Another great game, Sam going on a tear in Double Jeopardy, scoring on both daily doubles to take a big lead. He was nearing a runaway, but then Ferdinand scored on the last clue to stay in contention. Love to see it. Both Sam and Ferdinand were correct in finals, so it was Sam who secured the win and the last spot in the finals.
Yeah, another great game. And Sam also spoke about his experience on Reddit. He said, "It felt very strange to be the most recent recurring player. I'd only taped originally about a month and a half beforehand. I won't lie, losing the first time around felt pretty devastating. So when I got the message asking me to come back, I genuinely debated about whether I wanted to dip my toes back in so quickly. Ultimately, I made the promise to myself that if I returned, I would only do so with one goal in mind, to have fun. I never expected to get another bite at the apple, so I really only wanted to use this second chance to repair my relationship with the show I loved so much." So that's beautiful.
It is. And I love the moment in the game. You know, now the contestants know you're in the audience. So there it is, the final clue. Sam's going to call for it. And he then does a shout out to you in the audience. And he says, "Can I say it, other Sam?" And then he delivered his own "Bring It." You gave him a thumbs up. It was a great moment.
And for those of you that were watching on TV, you can actually see a picture of me. And I just want to say I was intentionally looking goofy That is me trying hard to look goofy.
Oh, I was wondering.
That's the reason.
Good to know.
Well, Drew, Enzo, and Sam returned on Thursday for day one of the finals. It was a tight game between Drew and Enzo, but some late high-value clues in Double Jeopardy earned Enzo the lead heading into Final Jeopardy, and there Sam and Enzo were correct. So Enzo took a commanding lead into Game 2.
Yeah, and despite those scores at the end of Game 1, this was a very evenly matched game statistically.
Yeah, you can get on the Jeopardy website to look at the box scores. We have them here in front of us. They were just about equal of 40 attempts or so each, and just about equal with 15, 16, and 18 correct responses. So a very evenly played game.
Well, Ken checked in with the players after Game 1 to see how they were feeling heading into Game 2 of the two-day Total Point Affair.
Now, I often say, listen, things change very quickly in a two-game final. I mean, so you've heard that before, Sam and Drew. Do you actually believe it? Do you feel like you two are still in this?
I mean, didn't Buzzy win from 0 Tournament of Champions a couple years back, right?
Yes. So. Like in the second day of the Tournament of Champions, often it's the third place person who turns it on. So
there's no crying in Jeopardy.
No crying in Jeopardy. That's exactly right. This game much more evenly matched than these scores make it look. I think it was 18 correct for Drew, 15 for Sam, 16 for Enzo. So a lot of vagaries of daily doubles and difficulty, but you three are definitely playing at the same level. So it's all going to come down to tomorrow. Best of luck to all three of you. Good luck.
And now a quick word from our sponsor.
So it's a new year, 2025, and you're thinking, how am I going to make this year different? How am I going to build something for myself? How can I turn this business idea I've been kicking around into a reality? Well, Shopify is there to help make it happen. And the best time to start your new business is right now. Shopify makes it simple to create your brand and get that first sale. With thousands of customizable templates, you can get your store up and running easily. Plus, Shopify helps with the details like shipping, taxes, and payments from one single dashboard, allowing you to focus on the important stuff, like growing your business. With Shopify, your first sale is closer than you think. Established in 2025 has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Jeopardy. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Jeopardy to start selling with Shopify today. Shopify.com/Jeopardy.
And now back to Inside Jeopardy. And in Friday's game, Enzo once again took a small lead heading into Double Jeopardy, but then Drew doubled up on 2 true daily doubles to form a strong lead into final. Sam close behind. It would all come down to that final clue of Final Jeopardy. Both Drew and Enzo were correct. And it was Drew who secured the win and the final spot in Champions Wildcard.
So as Ken suggested, Enzo well ahead after the first game, just couldn't get it rolling in the second one, I think, especially in Double Jeopardy, where he had only 4 buzzes, and I think he only got 1 correct answer there. So after the game, he admitted he might have been a little fatigued. He said there were moments where he asked himself, am I fully present in this moment? But then he said, I'm present enough to know that this is one of the greatest experiences of my life, and I'm so thankful that I got to be here. This is what Second Chance is all about.
Yeah, couldn't ask for 3 more just lovely humans to be in the finals. We caught up with Drew after the win. Ken asked him, what's it like? How are you feeling?
Drew, did you have McCain immediately?
I had Lafayette first.
Oh, interesting.
I almost started to write and then got there. JFK popped into my head for a second, but...
I was thinking, who is a prisoner overseas?
Yeah.
And for some reason, POWs didn't occur to me. I was like, it has to be an American who got arrested.
Yeah.
Like a political prisoner, and then the penny dropped.
The plug nickel.
The plug nickel finally dropped. Did you know at the end of Double Jeopardy that you had earned enough money to make Final Jeopardy matter? That you had the edge going into
Yes.
final?
I was in such a panic last night in the hotel room with my boyfriend Sam, trying to figure out how to do the wagering properly. And I was like, let me just focus on my first game. And then he was like, okay, just read through once how it works in a 2-day final. And I mean, thank God I did.
Is Sam like a good mathematical partner? Was he helping you out there?
I said, at my lowest point, I said, I wish you were better at math.
See, but always keeping the humor. That's what keeps the relationship going. Right after that post-game chat, we brought Drew over to the podcast studio. Michael and I had a chance to sit in here and just discuss the win, Take a listen. Here we are in the podcast studio with our second chance champion. It's Drew Goins. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fresh off the Alex Trebek stage. How are you feeling?
Shell-shocked. Yeah, I feel great, punch drunk. Yeah, it's unreal.
Take us through when you got the call that you're coming back on Second Chance. From that moment, take us from that moment all the way through until you arrived at the Culver Hotel.
Yeah, so I got the call. I woke up to it, actually.
Very nice.
Time difference.
Hawaii, yes.
And then immediately bolted up, right? In bed. And the first thought was, oh my gosh, here we go again. Just immediately plunged back into things. Dusted off the flashcards, which I'd kept. I went and got a library card, which I should not say that because I was delinquent in getting a library card.
It's okay. No judgment.
So that I could go and check out all the children's reference books.
Oh, very good.
Very
Classic Jeffrey
Holtzhauerian.
Dahmer. Yeah.
Very Holtzhauerian.
Yes. Now, back in September, when you left us, you knew you had a strong performance. 22 correct responses. You were up against a 3-game champ. Had you heard of Second Chance? Did you know it was a possibility? Did you leave thinking, I might be getting that call. I don't want to completely put away those flashcards.
Yeah, I didn't want to count any chickens before they hatched, of course, and I was just so happy with how the experience had gone. But I knew of Second Chance, and I gave myself a tiny, tiny smidgen of belief that it might happen. And then my brother sent me a link to some piece online from TV Line or something like that that said, fans clamor for Second Chance for Drew Goins.
Oh, you can't believe everything you read in TV Line.
Yes.
Never read the comments.
Clickbait. Your brother fell for it.
And I said, so the percentage chance has gone up from 1% to 2%, maybe.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you were.
Did you read that
thinking about it.
article, Sarah? Was
Oh
that,
yes,
okay.
no, and even when we announced the Second Chance roster, I said of Drew, he's one of the people that was most talked about on Reddit. I mean, people were clamoring for Drew to come back, and clearly, it was a good choice.
Love that
Thank you,
word.
clamorers.
Thank you, clamorers.
love
so you
that word.
come back, you go into that first game,
Yeah.
and wow, I mean, I don't know if it still hits you. 30 correct responses. That was the most we have seen up until this point in the season. Second highest score, ironically, to David Erb, who defeated you.
I did not realize
Yeah.
that.
But it wasn't in the game he defeated you. He actually earned the highest total of the season in the day before. So you guys are clearly very strong champions, but you had to be feeling really good momentum out of that qualifying game, knowing that you came back with a Jeopardy exclamation point, if you will, on Second Chance.
Yeah, I felt really good. I think the double-edged sword of that was, wow, I came here and I acquitted myself well. And no matter what happens in the following games, I'm so happy with how it went. And then I had a not so great a performance in that first game of the final. And then I was like, wow, I'm really hungry again.
All right, so game one of the finals doesn't go your way. You know, you and Sam were right in there, but Enzo just had
Dominated.
the buzzer.
Yeah.
Really, I could see all of you trying to get in. Your attempts were similar, but he really had that buzzer mojo, as we call it. And you've had it in games you've played, so you know how much it can shift a game.
Yeah, and it's really very fickle. I also knew that anytime he buzzed in, he had it on lock.
Yeah.
He's just, I mean, at lunch, Sam and I, it was just Sam, me, and Enzo sitting at a table together, sequestered. And we got probably just 20 minutes on the tutors. Things I had never known,
Wow.
just off the dome from
Yeah,
Enzo. And
that's
we just
great.
wrapped. We both looked at each other afterward and we were like, I don't think we have ever met anyone more knowledgeable.
Enzo has that game face, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
stays at that very. I'm sure if we did measure heartbeats, which don't worry, I'm not thinking of introducing
This
that.
could be a new
No,
stat,
we're not.
Michael.
That's
I don't
not-
know.
I've always opposed it on games. People have wanted me to do it, I've never done it. But Enzo's his pulse stays right
Solid
there.
60.
I know.
So you knew coming into game two, you had to have a strong performance. You already had a nice lead in the Jeopardy round. You hit that daily W of 3,800 and you're like, I'm going all in. And you went down to zero.
And I went down to zero.
What's going
Which
through your
I
head
think
in
should
that
be on
moment?
everybody's Jeopardy
Yes.
bucket list.
Yes.
To lose it all on a daily double.
And know that you have now even more ground to catch up.
Exactly. At that point, I thought a little bit, okay, this is just for fun now. I'm just going to have fun. It allowed me to loosen up a little bit, I think, which I needed. And then that kind of paved the way for the following daily double.
Because there is no crying in Jeopardy.
There's no crying in Jeopardy.
There's no crying in
you
Jeopardy.
cannot. So the next daily double that you hit, Same total,
3,800.
3,800.
Gonna haunt me.
And you got it.
Got it.
So that had to feel really good.
Yeah.
You had the most attempts in that second game of the final. So it just felt like the
buzzes?
material.
Okay.
Yeah. Your attempts. So you were trying for more clues than any of your competitors.
Yeah.
And obviously you did get in with more as well, but it just felt like the board was a better board for you.
It was a fertile board.
A fertile board. I like that.
That's good. We've got to remember that. That's a very good way to describe it. You said that last night in your hotel room, you were very anxious about the 2-day total point of fair wagering strategy, but you seemed to pull it all together and get your math right at the end.
I was taking my sweet time with it.
Yes, he only had 20 seconds remaining.
And then
when he
Megan comes over and she goes, 3 minutes, Drew. And I go, okay. And she comes back over and she goes, 1 minute, Drew. And I go, okay. And, at that point I was just checking, but I wanted to, triple check. But of course I didn't trust my math until the final showed up on the screen.
Yeah. And you said initially you were thinking Lafayette. And I can see Michael and I can see everyone writing.
Right.
We saw that Enzo had written McCain. We saw that Sam had written Lafayette. You hadn't written anything at this
hanging
point.
out.
And then in the last few seconds, here comes John McCain and Drew's got it. And then Enzo was revealed first.
Yes.
So you knew McCain was correct.
But not my math.
You didn't know your math, but you had to be feeling pretty good all the way through Sam's reveal and then to you that you are, in fact, our champion.
Sam and I were commiserating, or maybe not commiserating, but we certainly agreed that it's actually very easy to do a poker face because even if you know you have the right answer, you're so second guessing your math.
I have to ask Drew, because, you even mentioned when you went back to Hawaii and you were in the gym and, your peers maybe didn't know you'd gone on Jeopardy, but some of the older members of the gym recognized you.
Yeah.
How did you come to be on Jeopardy? Take me through your Jeopardy journey.
Yeah. So I applied for Jeopardy the very first time at 18 years old for adult Jeopardy. I said, I'm not going to do this.
You don't want that
I'm not gonna do
college.
this college. I want the real thing.
Okay.
And I hubristically applied at 18. And
Wow, you're the Emma Stone of regular Jeopardy.
And I went to like a hotel ballroom and sat and took the proctored exam and everything. And then over the years, that did not work out, of course.
Yep. Thankfully.
Goodness.
Right.
Thank goodness. And then I applied, every so often over the years when it happened that the test was upcoming when I thought to think about it. Now the Anytime test is incredible, and that's what allowed me to just be like, you know what, it's time for Jeopardy again. You just kind of feel it in your bones. You're like, it's time to try again.
Okay.
And so it was maybe the 4th or 5th try. Took the Anytime test, sat in the contestant pool for a really long time, and then got the call.
Got the call.
Somehow with your just your terrible appearance on camera and your complete lack of personality, you managed to sneak through the process. I don't know how it happened.
And now you're headed to Champions Wild Card.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I mean, did you dare to dream of that when you got that call for Second Chance?
I will be honest and say I absolutely did not. Yeah.
Really?
I truly didn't. So this is all beyond a dream.
You were supposed to be heading, I think tomorrow, we had to arrange your plane ticket because you were heading to Buenos Aires for like a backpacking trip or something, right?
Yeah, so best reason to cancel. I am supposed to be getting on a plane tomorrow to go fly to Buenos Aires on my way to Patagonia to be off the grid for 10 days. And now I think I'm going to be very on the grid.
Very on the grid.
In a library in Oahu.
Yes.
Exactly. Kaimuki Public Library. Shout out.
Absolutely.
Flashcards and children's books.
Okay. Well, look, we'll see you back here very soon.
wait.
Congratulations. Thank you for wearing the jacket and tie today. I think you looked absolutely wonderful.
Yes,
to
we had
dress up
so
for the
many
final.
ties.
I know,
love
it was
this.
wonderful.
Representing
And we'll see you back here.
Champions Wildcard. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sam, it looks like poor Drew had to cancel his trip to Buenos Aires and isn't going to be able to see that widest street you're reporting from.
It's the widest city street in the world, but I imagine he'll have as much or more fun in Champions Wildcard.
I think he will. We're now going to head back to last Wednesday and the debut of Celebrity Jeopardy! Season 3, the premiere. It featured Max Greenfield, Camilla Luddington and W. Kamau Bell. Close game between Kamau and Max. They battled it out in Double Jeopardy, splitting the daily doubles, but Kamau really turned it up in Triple Jeopardy, as so many times this happens. The game changer Triple Jeopardy. He found 2 of the 3 daily doubles, took a big lead heading into final. It was a triple stumper, though, but Kamau with a strategic, it's hard to say sometimes, Sam.
It is hard to say.
Strategic wager secured the win and a spot in the semifinals.
First of all, I love to talk about Triple Jeopardy with 3 daily doubles. You can't go wrong with that. But I'd like to say,
exciting.
I had W. Kamau Bell going pretty far in my office pool. Now, to be fair, I work at home, so my office pool is just me and 2 cats. But still.
Okay. The cats were not thinking he was going to go far?
One likes Rachel Brosnahan, and the other is behind Neil deGrasse Tyson. But I'm with Kamau Bell.
Okay. Are these the same cats that are featured in Don't Put Your Cat Butt in My Face?
One of them is.
One of your greatest hits? Yes. I love those hits, Sam. Sorry.
Thank you.
Didn't mean to bring up your greatest works there. You know, Max talked about getting some advice than none other than Celebrity Jeopardy champion Ike Barinholtz. You know, Ike told him you gotta just keep betting big. If if things are going your way, you just gotta keep betting it all. And Max kind of joked like, that would have to happen first. There was a great category called Darwin's Boobies that got a little bit of a laugh. And then, halfway through, W. Kamau Bell was like, yeah, this category, not as much fun as I thought it was going to be. I want to be clear. He thought there would be more boobies and less birds, but it's Jeopardy.
Rated G. I just want to reassure the parents out there, rated G.
Yeah. After he won, Kamau said, that's weird, right, everybody? He also added, these are 2 very smart and talented people who've done a lot in their careers, and I am just surprised that Max through the game, so we didn't have to stick around for the second show, because we do record these, we do 3 quarterfinal games, and then the winner of each stays or comes back to play that evening in the semifinals. So, I think Kamau has a career in comedy. I don't know if he's thought about it, but I think he does.
That's one reason to like comedians as we go forward, because we saw both Ike and Lisa Ann win the first couple rounds of this version of Celebrity Jeopardy. Comedians seem to do well, and I don't know if it has to do with them always being up on current topics, but it's worthy of a PhD dissertation.
Absolutely. Some great charities are being rewarded, even though Max and Camilla weren't able to pull off a victory. Wags and Walks, where we adopted our dog, $30,000 going for them. Love them. Love Piper. Shout out to our dog Piper. And Camilla, $30,000 for I Stand With My Pack. So great money going to charity, and happy to see that Kamau is advancing to the semifinals.
We're looking forward to seeing him go.
All right. Well, now we're going to go over to your segment, Sam. But wait, with the 2 T's. There's more. What do you have for us this week?
This week's clue comes from Thursday's game, so let's bring it.
World history for 4.
The Chinese invented this in the first millennium and suffered one of its deadliest explosions as noses rained on Beijing in 1626. Enzo.
What is gunpowder?
Yeah, don't mess with gunpowder.
Yeah, that gruesome depiction describes the gruesome Wangongchang explosion, when a Chinese armory packed with gunpowder blew up for unknown reasons. Some 20,000 people were killed. Supposedly, you could hear it from hundreds of miles away, and sure enough, contemporary reports talk of a rain of trees, birds, and even human body parts from the skies of Beijing. Look it up if you need even more gory descriptions.
I don't, Sam. I don't.
Yeah, no, me neither. I'm kind of glad it wasn't a video clue. But gunpowder is considered one of China's great inventions, along with things like paper and printing and the compass. Effectively using gunpowder requires the right combination of ingredients to achieve the desired effect. So you can make it burn fast or slow, depending on the formulation. So this is the chemistry that scientists tinkered with, starting with the initial discovery of gunpowder in the 9th century by Chinese alchemists seeking a life-extending elixir.
Bit of a swing and a miss there, Sam.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost the opposite of a life-extending elixir. But gunpowder was quickly used for warfare. The first guns were developed by the Chinese in about the 10th century, and that technology spread to the Middle East and Europe shortly thereafter. The thing is, this gunpowder, which we now call black powder, had problems. It produced a lot of smoke. It left a residue that would foul the guns. And it wasn't even that powerful unless you packed a whole armory full of it, I guess. In the 19th century, black powder was mostly displaced by smokeless powder, which is what we use today in almost all applications. And although a number of reasons have been proposed, the cause of the Wangongchong explosion remains a mystery.
Well, thank you for that, Sam. I learned something new, as I do every week. We're now going to learn something about Ken Jennings, because in this week's host chat, an audience member asked him, where's your favorite place to travel?
We go to London quite a bit. My wife and I really love London. We've been spending a lot of time there lately. I fly down for this, and when we're not taping, sometimes I have enough time to travel a bit. Great city, great base to see the rest of Europe. Once the kids are out of the house, we can go to places that are not great in the summer. Like, we haven't been going to Australia and New Zealand ever because we've had kids at home for the last 20 years.
He's actually traveling right now. He's off the grid. He's on a big hike somewhere in South America. We'll have to ask him about those adventures.
The life of a game show host.
A quiz show host.
Because it's America's favorite quiz show, Sarah. I don't know if you knew that.
I don't know if you know that, but I know that. Well, believe it or not, Sam, that brings us to the end of another episode of Inside Jeopardy! We will be back next week. Make sure to tune in today for the debut, the kickoff, the premiere of this season's Champions Wildcard Tournament. We also will have the next quarterfinal matchup in Celebrity Jeopardy! This Wednesday on ABC. That will feature Melissa Peterman, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and Jackie Tone. Enjoy that show, enjoy this week of games, and we'll see you all next week.
Farewell.
We're so glad you're here. Stick around and click that subscribe button so you see all our latest videos.